Alrighty, hey everybody, Steve here, the retired hobby tech guy, and today we're going to be talking about the Creality K2 Plus, an update of the system since I've gotten it. I've had it for a couple of months now, and I think I've got about 400 hours, printing hours on it. Matter of fact, I just have another print going on to where it's a 13-hour print, I think it is. Had some ups and downs with it, and if we want a quick little look at the K2 Plus, there it is. It's cranking out a Warhammer figure, so we're going to test that out and see how that goes. But yeah, the Creality K2 Plus has been doing really well for me. And so what I wanted to do is go over the information of some of the specifications to let people know about it, and hopefully things will work out okay. With that being said, I hope that the audio and the video are synced together. Had some problems with that in the past, so I don't know if that's worked out. There was a frame rate mismatch, and so I reset it again, did a little test video, and hopefully it is working now. But I'm kind of wondering about that. Let me check and see what we got going on. Source, camera overlays, output options. I don't know. We'll just try to go on. Maybe we can overcome this and see what happens. But let's just continue on and we'll talk about the K2 Plus. So with that being said, here we are, and we'll do that. The K2 Plus combo is what I ended up getting, and a lot of people were concerned about the tariff wars and the things that are going on between China and the United States and other countries. Seems to be a big thing. So many people were like, oh my gosh, they're going to charge more for our 3D printers coming from China. And it was like, let's just wait and see, hold your horses, let's relax a little bit and we'll see what happens. With that being said, yeah, I don't think there's that big of a problem, because what we end up seeing here is that it was regularly $16.49 and now it's down $100. So you're saving $120. So it seems like we're not in a bad a place as we were before. And I think a lot of companies what they're doing is they're adjusting their prices so that way people will buy their products. Imagine that. There's a built-in profit margin. They can lower it a little bit, obviously, and especially with the mass production of 3D printers in China, you're going to have a lot of wiggle room. But with this is probably a strategic thing that they have, and lowering that price for the combo system is pretty good. So you got some different options here. You have the Creality K2 Plus, the combo. You have the Creality High, which is another one. The CFS system. Yeah, it's some pretty good stuff. And when we look at the price of the K2 Plus without the CFS, it's gone down $170. So now it's down to $13.29. So yeah, that is a very affordable. That'll be less than what I paid. I mean, it's less now than what I paid for my combo system when I got it. So this seems to be a good thing, this whole trade war thing, because companies are answering the call, and they still want to get their money. So what we'll do is we'll go over some information. The CFS system, you can have up to 4 CFS systems that we have there. The build plate area is 350 cubed, which is one of the bigger ones out there. I think there's only a couple other machines, maybe some Vorons, and the Prusa XL, I think that's a 400, if I'm not mistaken. But a lot of good things on this. Sturdy matrix frame, die-cast tech aluminum, next generation extruder kit, which seems to be working well, step servo motors, actively heated chamber, which is good. It's got fans, the whole 9 yards. We start going through and we see, the step motors, 5 of those. Next gen extruder system, which is okay. It's it is what it is. Master of materials. Wow, dual AI cameras. The AI camera thing, I haven't really, with as much hype and play and focus on AI, I haven't really noticed or kind of seen how this has really been a jaw dropper. I don't know. Maybe it just does it and I don't see it. There is that auto calibration. There is the auto flow advance and pressure advance and flow rates and whatever. Just some different things that we have. But the system, when it comes out of the box, and the box is heavy, it's like 150 pounds gross weight with the packaging and everything. And so when you get it unpacked, it is a hefty monster. So you're definitely going to have the weight. But even with that, even on a solid table surface, it's going to move because it can get up to 600 millimeters per second, on speed. It has like 20,000 for acceleration. Some pretty good stuff. Some other things that I like is the built-in RFID tag reader. It's a little convenience thing. If you just buy the Creality rolls with the RFID tag, you just put it on the side or in the CFS and it automatically sets everything. But that doesn't, you still need to calibrate your filaments. But once you make those changes and put that in there and save it, whenever you put the next roll in there, it'll have that information available. It's got Ethernet, dual band Wi-Fi, which is pretty nice, and 32 gig of storage for files, which is pretty interesting. They've got a bunch of filament that you can use, and when we look at this information, again, 350 cubed, 4.3 inch color touchscreen. The dimensions, the combo dimensions, rated power is 1200 watts, so it should work and does work in average homes. The net weight is about 35 kilos, supports a bunch of different filaments, even ones with the heated filaments, carbon fiber, and so on and so forth. Printing speed is around 600 millimeters a second, top speed, but your daily driver speed is going to be much less, depending on how and what it is printing, whether it's coming to corners, tight areas, things like that. If you have long distances of where it's going to print a straight line, then obviously it's going to pick up speed. And for those that are wondering, it has different speed options. So it has a silent option that it will run at 50% speed. And then they have like lower, which is like 75, then 100%. And then they have ultra fast, which is 125% speed. So if you're looking for a user-friendly, hey, let's print this quick, I haven't had any problems with using the ultra fast speed at 125%. And I can access that on the Creality Cloud, on the app on my phone, or on the machine. I can set those speeds accordingly. So yeah, it's pretty neat. AI camera for monitoring and calibration. Again, I think there's a lot of hype on that, and I think it just does what it does. So maybe it seems like it's not really doing much. Power loss recovery, automatic filament relay, and with the CFS system, what's really nice, if you have multiple rolls of the same type of filament and you're doing a large print, let's say you're in slot number 1 and that reel, that spool runs out, it'll automatically go to the next source of filament. Automatic runs out and it'll load in the next one. The other great thing is that if you're using the side filament holder and your spool runs out, the machine will stop and then it'll come up and you'll get a notification. You can change the filament, put it in, and continue printing, and you're good to go. So there's a couple of different options there, which I really appreciate, especially with some people having problems with the CFS. You can just go ahead and continue printing with the side printing outside of the machine. And if you have like the Creality Space Pi, then what you can end up doing is printing straight from that into your machine. And of course, if you have some esoteric filaments, that drying of the filament is pretty important. And even sometimes with PLA, if you're in high humidity areas like I am here in Korea. So filament, the only other thing that I would say, the lighting kit, yes, it has a lighting kit, but that lighting kit is dismal. I ended up, there was a guy that did some videos on Facebook, I can't remember, Get Ready 3D Print or something. The guy with the bald head, he's got the tattoo on the top. He actually had and forgive me of this, I forgot his name, it's right on the tip of my tongue. but he had an aftermarket LED plug-and-play light thing, LED strip, and that has been great. So he's making some money off of that, obviously, and it's going to cost you, $20-$30 or whatever it is in shipping and whatever. But that is great. And so I think Creality needs to step up their game with the lights that they put into their systems, because that tiny little light bars that they put in there are just dismal. If I'm paying $1,600, $1,700, or now $15 or whatever it is for a system that is a K2 plus, it should have plus the LED lights. It should have a lot more lights. And I would think that with the AI detection system, you would need to have a well-lit area. So again, I would pay a couple extra bucks just to have a well-lit chamber area. So flexible build plate, there are some aftermarket build plates that are out on the open market. So I picked up one of those and it works well. Auto leveling seems to be good. Compatibility, had some problems with the CFS, actually had a buffer problem as well, so I had to order a new buffer, that little rectangular thing on the back. Had to get a new one of those, but we're good to go. And for those of you who are wondering, some people have said that they've had problems, and when we check into this, the Wi-Fi is 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. So if you're having problems, make sure that you're on the same network as the Wi-Fi as with your machine and all of that stuff, and you won't run into any problems. I have continuity between the Creality app, the Creality Print, which is the online, using the browser, and the dashboard, things like that. No problems whatsoever. So the CFS, you can run 4 colors out of that, and you can have a total of 4 of those. And again, that is going to be 46 kilos. That is a hefty system. And I think a lot of the problems that the K2 Plus faces that we've seen, there are so many people that have great experiences with the K2 Plus, but they don't really voice that because they're busy printing stuff. And so they don't complain about it. And so when you see a lot of people complaining, which we think is a lot, really isn't a lot. But I think the majority of the problems that come from the K2 Plus is poor handling during shipping. So it's kind of interesting, and it's a thing that needs to be taken into consideration. William says, I work in IT, and some home networks segment the 2.4 and 5 gigahertz networks into their own IP ranges and don't bridge them properly. That's true. And what I found is that I haven't had any problems with the K2 Plus in regards to that, especially with the new update that happened. It was a little while ago, but it really kind of fine-tuned some things. There were some problems that I experienced with Creality Print that I think they lost some functionality and user interface that could have been more user-friendly, but it definitely works out well. But going back to the shipping, I think a lot of people that have problems with their K2 Plus, what happens is the fact that it's shipping. It's poor handling during shipping. And those things, the boxes weigh 100, 125 pounds, whatever it is. And then what you end up getting is people and delivery people, what they end up doing is tipping the boxes over, and then they end up, 46 kilograms is 100 pounds. So it's kind of amazing. So I actually worked at a UPS warehouse, and I saw how people, at least in Colorado, and how they treated packages. And the bigger the things, the heavier the things, and the more awkward the packages, the more abuse those things would take. And while the Creality K2 Plus is packaged extremely well, I will say, the problem with the damaged feet and everything, I think it's because of the weight, and that you have people that can't lift up 100 pounds, and so they roll the box around, and of course it falls off of the truck, it falls off of the platforms and things like that. So is it any wonder? There's no way that you would be able to protect the feet or the machine from a fall off of a loading platform or off of the back of the truck onto, say, the concrete road or asphalt road. You're going to incur some damage. And I think that's what happens with a lot of it. Now, how did I come to the conclusion of that? I live in Korea. I'm an American expat in Korea. I retired over here and haven't seen any videos of any problems with the K2 Plus here. And all of the shipping of stuff over here, the shippers and the handlers and the people who do deliveries take a lot of pride in their work, and they're rated on how well they deliver things. So they have a vested interest to deliver things in as good a condition as they can. So very different package handling between the United States UPS and DHS versus here in Korea, where they actually take pride in their work and they care about the condition of the packages. So when I got my K2 Plus, the box looked like it just came out of the factory. It was the best looking box that I have ever received that was shipped. And again, this was shipped from China to Korea and from up in Seoul or whatever it was, down to where I live, further down south a few hours. And it was just impeccable. No problems, no breaks, no cracks, no indentations of where it fell on the corner of the side or whatever. So I think a lot of the problems that people have stems from poor handling. Aaron comes back. Mr. Williams says, I changed out my spring in my hot end and I'm printing sandals right now in TPU off the side spool holder. I did have to tune my filament unlike my Bamboo A1, but, what was that last little part? But I learned a lot. Cool. Awesome. TPU, I haven't printed with that yet. That is going to be very interesting. But changed out the spring. If you can put where you got the new spring for your hot end, that would be very interesting. I would like to know where you got that. And matter of fact, there are some people that have been talking about a thumb screw spring on that extruder that you can adjust, so that way you can make those adjustments between PLA, TPU, and all types of different filaments, because it's truly not a one size fits all, as Mr. Williams points out. So yeah, I'd be interested in learning that. The Bamboo A1, that would be interesting. I was just about to buy a Bamboo system. I was going to get the A1 or the X1E. Actually, I think it was going to be the A1 before, and I was going to wait for the H2D. But then the problem with Bamboo and locking down their system under the guise of safety and security, that really put a bad taste in my mouth, because I've worked on computer systems and routers, and I've worked on fiber optic and setting up PTZ cameras and redundant storage systems and the whole 9 yards. I've ran computer lines for computer labs and offices and the whole 9 yards. But it's just like, I just put a bad taste on my mouth. But for the majority of people, they don't care about that stuff. Mr. Williams pops up again, says, hey, sorry to spam. Don't worry about it. But yeah, that's the links for the spring and thumb screws I threw on my hot end. Cool. Awesome. Thank you very much. It's not spam if you help me out. But yeah, it's definitely a good thing, to share tips and tricks and to help other people that are in the 3D printing world or whatever hobby that you're involved in. I help a lot of people. I answer a lot of questions that are getting into 3D printing with the limited knowledge that I know. But I've got a little bit of an electronics background, so that gives me a little bit more ammunition to help people. But even then, like being an American expat here in Korea, I've helped out a number of couples to retire in Korea, and I do it all for free. So yeah, it's all about helping people out and having fun, and maybe get a cup of coffee out of the deal every once in a while. So with that, we're going to take a look at the dashboard, and boom, there's the dashboard of my K2 Plus. It's currently printing on a 13-hour print. We're 11 hours into the print, and we're about an hour and 53 down. We've got 11 hours left, and let's see if we can bring up. I rarely use this, so there. Hey, it's actually working. Alrighty, cool. So this is a great function. And you can even go through on your nozzle temp, your bed temp. You can change these on the fly. Even the chamber temperature, you can adjust that. The fan speed, the back fan, you can turn that on or off. You could, turn the LEDs off and on. And here's where I was talking about the speed. So you have the silent, I think that's less than 50%, and then you have the steady, the standard, and the high speed. So if I crank this up to 125%, and this will adjust, and that should take, now from 11 hours to 8 hours and 55 minutes. So we knocked off a couple hours by setting the speed to 124, actually 125. But yeah, you have all this information, your CFS, if that's involved. It just seems to be a really great system, and it's getting better. But with that being said, there are some problems. While the Creality Cloud information and this desktop and things like that comes out pretty good, I have my own page here, and they're trying to copy or emulate kind of like Printables and Maker World and in some of those different sites where you can have and explore different models on their page. And you have people like me who make their own models in Tinkercad. And so I've got a number of things, some shameless plug for my free models that you can get on Creality Cloud. Airbrush stands, paintbrush racks. I did a build plate holder for the K2 Plus, or basically any large scale, and that's adjustable. The Creality RFID spools, I made a little holder there, and then I did my Stanley dual melt pro glue gun. Did a little holder for that. As a matter of fact, I've got that right here. So this turned out really well. Let me see if we can get this in frame. But it holds all the things that we need, and it was a cool little thing to make. So, and then the latest thing that I ended up doing, as you can see here, was a hex miniature shelf system. And I just want to kind of show this off. Basically, what we ended up doing was creating and making a simple hex shelf, and then we cut it down to some degree, and it's got kind of a unique profile to it. And then you have enough room to put some miniatures or maybe as a desk organizer. And then I ended up doing some slots on all the sides, and then I made some little tabs that you could insert, so you could end up connecting these kind of like this. And of course, if you wanted to keep these as I'm dropping stuff all over the place, if you wanted to keep these in a permanent, the joys of live stream. Let me see if I can get this right now. So yeah, this is what it should end up looking, but it's kind of a cool little thing here. And I've been taking this apart and in different configurations. And so when I printed this out, I actually have two different sizes of tabs, thickness of tabs. So if one is too loose, you can use the other set. But yeah, it was kind of a cool little thing that, some organizer stuff. So I was pretty happy about that. And trying to get these connectors, these slots, to line up, and the very center of every side was a little taxing, to say the least. That's what we got going on there. The thing I wanted to talk about on one of the issues that I ended up having was the Creality Print, which is their slicer program. And we'll take a look at that because there were some new issues that popped up when they redid the current update. So here's what we end up having, and boom. So yeah, this is the little guy that I'm printing out now. So we'll see how well that goes. Little Warhammer figure. But when I left click, it'll just kind of rotate and do this. When I do the right click and hold it, it does the same thing. When I do my center mouse wheel, it does the same thing, and I can zoom in and out, but it doesn't have the ability of where usually you could left drag and click and you would be able to select everything on the build plate. So that's a functionality that I think went away, which I'm really not happy with, because now you have to click on it, and if there's multiple items that you wanted to click, it used to be like, hit shift and you could select everything and click and whatever. But the problem is now, if you want to do this, it has to be like with the command, hold down the command key, at least on the Mac, and then select the different items and the different items and different items. So I think they lost some functionality by taking away that, left click and drag of being able to select everything on the plate. Now, granted, you could go up to and do, select all. You could do that, or, right click, which, it doesn't even have that now. You'd have to click on an item, and that brings up some information. But I think they lost some usability in the user interface, and it's just, there you go, select all. Just be able to left drag and select everything. Everybody's used to that, so I'm not sure why they got rid of that. But other than that, it's pretty much the same as most other slicers, and honestly, I don't get the idea of why everybody would need to have their own. They should just use Orca Slicer and then just pay Orca to, put their little Creality or whatever company they are onto there, and just kind of, colors and shapes and logos, and just let Creality or let Orca be the standard for 3D printing, but it's not. So it's just kind of an interesting little software. There are some things that I do find problematic, like syncing up of the CFS to find out the current condition. I think in the older Creality Print, what they ended up having is they had a button where it was like sync, the CFS, and boom, you would be updated on that, what spools have what in filaments and so on and so forth. This one, I think it took, add a button, just say sync CFS, in that top right-hand corner. That is something that, let's see. Talking about the usability, does Command and A work on Select All? On Windows, Control A, that works. I don't know. That's an interesting thing. Let's find out. So let's go back here. And what was that? Command A? Command A. Yep, Command A works where it'll select, so that's a thing. If there's multiple items on here, let's just go ahead and clone this. We'll just do another one. Yeah, I know, it's big. So let's see. If we end up doing Command A, that'll select everything, which is good. If I select it individually and I'm holding down the Shift key, it'll still only give me one, whereas in most other programs you would be able to select different items and group them all together. And if I hit the Control, nope, it doesn't do that. If I hit the Option key, doesn't do that. But when I do the Command and hold that down and select, then that'll select everything. So that's kind of a good thing. The Control A is good to know. But again, I miss the ability to left click and then draw that square and be able to select everything within the bounds of that, kind of like what you would see in most other software. I really just don't know why they did away with that. What is that fix? By taking that away, I really just don't understand what that fixed. So it is what it is. But other than that, it's been pretty good. Let's see. Aaron ends up saying, that's really odd. I've heard the OS X version is a bit rough. I don't know. I haven't had any problems with my Mac or anything like that, but it was only after the update on the Creality Print software that I noticed some of these things. and that was kind of problematic. I was like, why? You know, you took that away, but I don't see why you took it away or what purpose it served. It's not. I don't think they were getting a lot of glitches from people left dragging and selecting everything on the build plate or the area. I don't know. Maybe that's behind the scenes. I'm not sure. But, you know, they need to work on that. The other thing I think that Creality needs to do, honestly, is to get their parts. The parts in their troubleshooting is something that needs to be taken into consideration, because those are some things that we need to look at. Let's take a look and see if we got, is the printer still printing? I think my phone, just because I have the phone, we'll remove that. Yeah, I think my phone just kind of went off on me there. But another thing I think what Creality needs to do is to work on the troubleshooting. And whenever you have an error code on your K2 Plus on the display screen of the machine itself, it'll say, you know, help, retry, or okay, or something to that matter. And if you go to help, it'll pop up with a QR code, which will take you to their Wiki Creality page, which will list all of the error codes that you have, and then you have to scroll through and pick each one and then go to the page for that specific error that you had. I think they need to update that, because if you're getting, let's say, extruder is clogged, and whatever that error code is, just use the error code, the QR code that will go specifically to that fault, so that I don't have to go through the main list of every single error code on the wiki page. I go scroll down and remember what the number is. Okay, scroll. Okay, there it is. Select it, and then it populates that page. If you're going to have a QR code that is specific to that individual fault, it should go to the specific website or page for that problem. I shouldn't have to go to the main page, scroll through all the different QR codes or the error codes to find the one that I have and then click on that. It's a usability thing. I think it's something nice, and I think it would set them a little bit apart, and it would help the process, because really what they've done is just kind of taken a shortcut. You know, oh, here's the list of all the codes. You know, go that extra mile, identify the specific code, and have that QR code go to the specific troubleshooting tips and tricks and all that specifically. So that's just the thing that I have problems with. Other things that come in. Other than that, you know, I've got, and I can't get onto it. Maybe I can. Hold on. I'm going to go grab my phone real quick to see if I can find how many print hours I have. I'll be right back. Yeah, what happened is my phone went to sleep. So we'll disconnect that, and we'll go on to the Creality Cloud. As a matter of fact, can I do this? Let's see. I'm trying to find how many hours I've got on my machine. Product information, device settings, local file, blah, blah, blah. Nope, we don't have that. It's interesting because the print with AI, when we were talking about the print with AI, and on the app, none of those are clicked on. So I'm not going to put that on, but I'm going to remember that after I finish this print. Let's see, K2 Plus. Okay. I wonder if it'll only do it after the print is over. Because I remember, well, let's see, the account, model orders, discount storage, blah, 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 insights, maybe that'll do something. And I really don't understand why you can't access the total print hours on the Creality Print software that we looked at. Print settings, models. Okay, that's just for the models that I have, so we'll get rid of that. Storage, online content, blah, 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 blah. Okay. I don't know, seriously. Profile, no, that's not it. Something that you think you should be able to have access to that would be readily available as anywhere on the Creality Print itself to find out, what, how many hours have I printed on my machine? That's all I want to know. It's not under settings. It's not under that product information, maybe. No, that just gives generic information. For the life of me, I can't remember where it is. Maybe it's under account. Model orders, no. Profile, no. I'm just going to give it up on that. I don't know what the deal is. But I've got, and if I remember correctly, I wanted to say like 300 or 400 hours, somewhere within that time range. And I've done more printing since then. Had a couple of clogs with the K2 Plus, which has been, I think, dialing in the filament is something that you need to do. So that comes into play. I have found that with PLA, with the Creality PLA anyway, the recommended settings, I've had to set the nozzle temperature higher, and I've also had to set the bed temperature higher as well to get optimal prints. And of course, calibrating your filament is how I found that out. And my prints do come out better. I think once this print is done, I'm going to look at the AI settings on this and see if that will improve my first layers, because there still are some problems with the flatness and the of the bed, which I think Creality ends up saying if it's within 2 millimeters or something, it's acceptable to them. But I think mine is like 0.86 or something, 84. I was able to drop it. It was a lot worse. But yeah, it ends up that is, let me see. Seriously, print settings. Prints, I've had 200 prints. Wait a second. 200 prints, but it doesn't have the hours. Seriously. Come on, Creality. There should be something. And let me show you what I'm looking at here. So we go back to this, and there's the model print settings, print files, 200 prints. But I don't know if that's, why. Let's see, time lapse, playback, print jobs, all. Why can't it just have 200 prints? But I mean, how many hours? How hard would that be? You already have, 2 hours here, whatever, however many hours it took to print those things. But I mean, why can't you have something it just gives you and says, hey, this is how many hours that you printed? I don't understand. Excuse me. Yeah, I just don't get it. Uploaded, like, purchase, collections, blah, blah, blah. Again, the prints, printer, of course, the K2 Plus. You do all this stuff, There should be something start end. You can search for total number of hours. I just don't understand why they don't have that information. Or if they have it, why is it not easily acceptable? Come on, Creality, let's get with the program. So anyway, that's what we got going on with that. Very interesting. There's also some interesting information when we talk about the upcoming K2 Pro and K2. So you might be wondering, what is that? We already have the K2 Plus, which is a 350 cube build area. You know, all of the bells and whistles that I'm happy with. There is a learning curve with 3D printing, as you know, but they're coming out with the K2 Pro and K2, which is supposed to be third or fourth quarter this year. So this was announced earlier on, and matter of fact, we'll take a look at the article here from All 3D Pro, talking about the Creality K2 and K2 Pro that popped up at a recent thing. Now this was published in April 11th, and they pulled back the curtain on the K2 and the K2 Pro. Let me see if I can make this bigger. There we go. Specs wise, the main difference are in the build volume. So the K2, it ends up, it's 260 cubed, where the K2 Pro is 300 millimeters cubed. The K2 Pro has a chamber heater, so it's basically just a shrunk down K2 Plus. Has all the bells and whistles, but the regular K2 is 260 millimeters cubed, and it doesn't have the active chamber heater, and I think it just is wireless if there's that. The K2 Pro has Ethernet and boasts 32 gigs of storage, whereas the K2 appears to only have Wi-Fi. So there is the K2 Pro, and that looks, it's a shrunk down, like what, maybe 40% shrunk down from the K2 Plus size. The interesting thing is that with that 300 build area, I think that we're kind of going backwards now. But I think they're trying to capture the market for, the big bamboo bad brother thing that they got going on. But both of these systems, the K2 Pro and the K2, will be compatible with the CFS system that you see up there, and then they have their new Creality Space Pi, which ends up is a 4-spool system there. There is no word on the price yet, so that will be interesting. And again, it says that the K2 and Pro they are expecting a third quarter release date. No words on pricing yet, and it is the 23rd of May. So yeah, it's right around the corner, what we're coming up into. So I'm surprised we haven't heard any other information or leaks or details about this. So yeah, it's definitely, I did see a video talking about the K2 Pro and the K2, and the big push was the AI and how it's going to advance things, and the integration of AI into these systems are going to make it even better. The question is, will all those things be incorporated into the K2 Plus as well? I'm assuming it will, but I'm not sure. So yeah, interesting information. Let's see. Nefertum says, hello Steve, I'd like to recommend to you take written and automated notes on those valuable settings or ideas once you have them discovered. Yes, that is, actually I do that. Because even though they're saved in the machines and things like that, I still have my notepad, and I still save, here's the filament settings, here's, the different things that I've had to change and adjust. And even when printing different items, the different settings, different supports, I still keep notes on that. So that's actually an excellent idea. And maybe it's just because I'm older, I need more notes. But yeah, that is a good recommendation, definitely. Lord knows what happens. There could be an update and boom, all the information is gone and you have to redo everything. It's always good to have a backup. And you don't realize you need a backup until you need the backup. So get a backup. So anyway, that's what we got going on. Interesting stuff with the Creality K2 Plus. Again, probably about 300-400 hours printing on it, which is pretty good, and going to be doing some larger prints. I finished up with the Hulk. I'm doing some patching. So, and since I've got the Hulk in the background, just filling in some seams and everything. And yeah, the Hulk is pretty good. So this is the largest print that I've done so far. And one of my bucket list is to make this 5 feet high. When I scaled this up, just the base in itself, to make this whole thing 5 feet high, I think it was going to take 3 months of printing. So, yeah, it's like, holy crap. So this will be an ongoing thing. And if I'm going to do one large print, it's going to be the Hulk. And yeah, it will sit in the corner of the room. But yeah, could you imagine? I mean, if this takes 3 months of printing, you know, it'd probably take almost 6 months of printing, I would imagine. You know, from here, just doing half of the body, just the legs. I haven't, I think I wrote something down on that, on how many hours that would be. Let me see if I can find that. Also observe your audio synchronization has become misaligned again. I know. And I even changed that before I did this stream. And I had corrected it last time. And let me see if I go into recording, go into settings, video, audio, testing. Oh, that's really bad. And I'll set it for -2, which it was before. Testing. I think there's still a delay. Wow. I don't know why it's doing this. That is so odd. And I can't go down anymore. Let me go to the other extreme, 30, as far as the mic delay. So testing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, now we'll go back to -2. 1, 2, 3. I think we still got some problems going on. Yeah, and this recently happened with an update for Mac, and so I'm not happy with that. And even though my streaming Ecamm Live is good to go, I'm really not liking that. What do you do? Maybe it's the mic. Let me try a different microphone. And what camera do I have? Logitech Brio? No, it's not going to be that one. Let me click. Testing 1, 2, 3. I'll change it back to ready. 1, 2, 3. I don't know. It is what it is. Hopefully I'll be able to figure that out because, yeah, I like the Ecamm Live software. It's really intuitive. But that's what we got going on with the K2 Plus and the update. Have it for a few months now. It's been a real good system. I've had problems with the CFS. The buffer system I've had to get replaced. I've had clogged nozzles. Those have kind of sorted themselves out. And yeah, we'll see that. The last little bit, complete system reboot. Yep, that's going to be the next thing. So when I finish that, I'll redo everything and reboot, and hopefully, keep fingers crossed, that will fix that problem. So anyway, it'd be interesting to find out if you all have any 3D printers, what experience do you have, what machines do you have, and what do you like, dislike, what do you recommend? Are you looking forward to the new Creality K2 and K2 Pro? It'll be really interesting to find out the prices on that, to see how competitive those will be. But it's very interesting that we see the K2 Plus and the combo system have gone down in price despite the tariff things that is going on. So that's a good thing. So that's definitely a thing. So with that being said, I think what we'll do is we'll close this video out, and please like and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate that. It's something that, help get more views, more subscribers. Eventually I'll try to get monetized. But I just want to have fun with this. Like and subscribe would be the best thing that you could do for me. If you want to do me another solid above and beyond, you could be like the people in the ticker down below who have bought me a coffee. Link is in the description box. And if you want to contact me, there is my email address, officialthevariedlife@gmail.com. Not all the comments I get to because I've got like 230,000 views. And so it's hard to answer all of those. But if you absolutely need to get in touch with me or give me recommendations or links for, springs and other things like that, shoot me an email, and I 100% answer my emails. So you can always get a hold of me that way. Anyway, that's it. We're going to go ahead and finish this up. So thank you for watching and checking out, and the information and the discussions that we had. Really appreciate that. Feel free to give your 2 cents, and always enjoy having this type of interaction. It's kind of a good thing. So with that, we'll let you go because I've got to get some breakfast and I'm starving. And I'm sure you guys and gals have some stuff to do, so I'll let you go. But like and subscribe so we can see each other on the next video, and we'll see you then. Peace. Yeah. Got to fix that audio.